A scion of many worlds. You're not convinced, Jasper remarks as Yenis leaves the temporary astrology hall. Look, you have some impressive toys and some very interesting anatomy. But tell me which one sounds more likely. That after 1,000 years of inexplicable delays, we've been spontaneously rescued by some forward scout of a military organization we've never heard of before. Or some cache of old technology that included something to keep everything fresh and alive cracked open and there was a person inside, Eunice asks him. The really sad part is that the actual story is even more absurd than the assumptions I've led you to believe. And you openly admit that much of my knowledge is assumption. Why would I believe you? To be honest, in your position, I wouldn't. He confesses and she just stares at him. Okay, what the hell is going on? She demands, and he sighs. Look, let's work at this from the angle that I'm crazy and will be proven wrong. I've already been proven very hard to kill, and with a lot of resources and power at my disposal. How do I minimize damage? My goal is to prepare the world so that when the others show up, there isn't a riot. How do I get everything calm? Is that something even possible with the breakaway empire? How do I simultaneously prepare your people for the best-case scenario without also potentially disappointing them? Jasper asks, and she stares for a moment before blinking. Are you asking me how best to help my nation? Yes. I'm going to interact with it from the angle that help is on the way. I won't stop this. But understanding that from your point of view this is absurd, how do I do my best to help out and make things better for you and your people? How do I get enough authority and public say in the breakaway empire to calm them down and have them at least content for a period of 2 to 3 weeks, and we only have a week to do it? Jasper asks her and she gapes for a moment before thinking. Just a week to pull it off? Just a week. And you will only try to calm things and help things right. She presses at him. To the best of my ability. I don't control what other people do though, so I can't guarantee anything. But the information and knowledge I give here to the Star Seekers are available to all who are willing to come and learn in peace. This includes local astrological knowledge as well as programming so as to breathe life into your librariums. There is more: advanced canon crafting and use, training methodologies, medicines and medical techniques. All who wish to learn may. That alone is of enormous benefit to all empires capable of bringing people here, which yours has proven itself capable of. A golden age of prosperity and progress is just around the corner whether or not the undaunted come for me. I see, she says, and she does see as he can almost read the mental script she's going through. She wants credit. Now that he's overwhelmed and outmaneuvered her desire for revenge, she wants prestige and wealth instead. He's dealing with a mercenary. That's fine. Mercenaries can be bought. So, we need a way for you to get the big, combat-ready Earthani talking to your people while the gifts of knowledge and skills needed to bring about a golden age flow in. How do we do that? He rephrases things and he can almost hear the sound of a till going off. Well, she begins and he knows he has her. Perhaps you'd like to see the medicines. What I'm most proud of is the Alyran powder. It dissolves in water and it dulls pain while pushing down swelling. It's also easily made and preserves for a long time. Does it? Oh yes, although to be honest, I can claim little credit for it. I'm responsible for spreading knowledge of Alyran powder, not discovering it. It's actually something the mountain clans make heavy use of. Jasper explains and Yenis looks thoughtful. If you want the eye of the entirety of the breakaway empire, there is one place to get it. Yenis offers and Jasper resists cheering. He's not only got her, but she's actively conspiring with him now. And that place is? The Great Arena. Not only does every woman of import watch, but so do foreign dignitaries. There are no scheduled contests, but a foreign noble can call for a contest. And one where they participate themselves, that will bring all their attention. I see. So what you're saying is that I can literally get everyone of the breakaway empire of import in one place easily. If you're willing to put your life at risk, yes, she says, and he considers. Before I go through with something like that, I want to know exactly how it works out. What are these arena battles like? There are several versions, she says, and smiles at remembrance of something. The first is a culling. All criminals of the kingdom are set against a champion. They're permitted to arm themselves to the best of their ability and face off against the champion. They either earn their freedom or the empire earns freedom from their depravity. There is not a hint on her face to suggest she's even slightly aware of how barbaric that sounds to him, something he's very, very careful to keep to himself. I see. What of the other contests? A few more, the tests of beasts. Many witches in the kingdom seek to create the ultimate guard or protective beast, but there are many, many failures for each success. The beasts are pit against powerful warriors and champions in battle to both cull their numbers and give proper experience to our warriors. This is one of the most common tournaments, and it's the one most likely to have a foreigner fight in, as the mountain clans are eager to test themselves against even the most horrific monster. I take it there's a traditional dueling type in there as well. Champion on champion violence. Jasper asks, hoping for something where he can properly grandstand, show mercy, and not straight up murder people just for the chance to talk to the breakaway empire. He already has to readjust his pitch for them to hold on until help arrives. That'll just piss them off. Finally, there are two more. The games involves teams of soldiers facing off against each other while the arena shifts to reveal traps or leashed monsters. It's one of the least blood tournaments, but it's still a crowd pleaser. Finally, there is All Things, where all of it happens at once. Prisoners, traps, monsters on one side, and the other is an army of warriors with champions. Those are the most dangerous and bloody, but it turns warriors into champions and allows champions to refine their skills to unheard of levels. And winning one of these would get me an audience with the upper class and nobility of the breakaway empire. It would be the audience with the breakaway empire. Whether you speak at the moment or after the fight, they will at least entertain you, provided you win. She states, and he can see her facial muscles twitch under the very fine fur. She's trying not to grin. It is clever of her. She's trying to get him killed to avenge her sister, reap the benefits for her people, and come out the other side favored by both the Starseekers and the breakaway empire. Clever, and perfect for his own use. She wants to use him. Fine. He'll use her right back. He'd rather deal with things from the ideological level, but he's unafraid of getting dirty. Pristine fur aside. The thing that really has him impressed is how she's keeping all this out of her axiom aura, a perfect trick for an infiltrator with so much of the galaxy using it to sense emotions. Of course, knowing someone feels something or believes something is different from believing or feeling it yourself. Otherwise, he would have easily convinced her that help is on the way. All right, what's the best way to get me into one of those tournaments then? What areas do I have to go through? He asks, deliberately stepping into her trap. It's not even a bad idea in the short or long run, but it is a plan that will fail. It will fail because he is undaunted. He is an unending fire consuming all, a vast ocean capable of bearing the greatest burdens and hiding incredible secrets, a flawless gem that only grows stronger with pressure and time, a great tree who reaches ever upwards and whose roots can hold continents together, a mighty mountain, unyielding and reaching so high that to even approach his peak is to choke on the thin air of that dizzying height. She would see him dead in a tournament? He will rise instead on the ocean of blood and cease only when they have nothing left to face him with. Their swords will shatter, their beasts will be slain, their traps will be smashed, and they will know he is undaunted. And he cannot be beaten. Pushed back? Yes. Hurt? Undoubtedly. Outsmarted? At times. beaten? No. He starts walking her around the valley. Her little plan is cute and something he wants to actively encourage now. She's enraptured by the cannons, and once he starts going into the advantages of kinetic weaponry over lasers and the lost technology of plasma use, then he shows her his plans for how to make plasma weapons. He then helps her learn how to take pictures with a communicator, and after that she's utterly enraptured and becomes the least subtle spy to ever try. With a thoroughly distracted Yanise wandering off every which way to take a picture of everything she possibly can. During this, Jasper tracks down wherever Magrica is and finds her helping no less than 10 girls train at once, by beating the snot out of the armed and armored women while unarmed and unarmored herself. Jasper watches the hilarity for a few minutes until the girls all take a knee to signify surrender. Magrica lets out a little mew of disappointment and then catapults herself into Jasper's chest and cuddles into him despite the armor he's still wearing. It says a lot about a woman that she still finds me cuddly, even when I'm covered in metal bands. Jasper jokes and gets a swat in the back of the head by a morphing wing. What can I say? You're somehow more appealing by the day. Is it that human thing you're doing? Yes. I'm quickly getting to the point where a rainy day is just a turn-on and not a requirement. I hope you're not disappointed. Oh dear, I get a great big loving from my great big moth whenever I need it. How will I ever survive? You've been getting sarcastic, little lady, Jasper notes with a smile. I've had a good teacher. Still, you look like you've got your business face on, not the fun face. What's the business? I think this is both. I'm going to seek an audience with the breakaway empire's upper class and nobility by challenging their arena. It forces them to pay attention to me, and when I win, I'll have their attention undivided and be able to direct them, either directly or indirectly, into doing what I want. Okay, so you're going to do something fun and entertaining to get back to the boring and annoying stuff. I understand. So you want to know all you can about the tournament, right? Right. It shouldn't be too bad. You've fought champions, and Clarity and Terry are good examples of them. The monsters you hunted with us are a lot bigger and meaner than most things in the arena, and the rest are, well, not as good. The traps are something to be careful of, though, but the biggest threats are the champions, or if there's something really unexpected out of their monster-making pits, Magrica explains, and he nods. All right, so what you're saying is that I need to polish up on my skills just in case. That would be the smart thing to do, she says, almost vibrating in anticipation to what's about to happen next. She's like a chihuahua if it could back up its bark up to and including against tanks. All right, I'm probably going to get sucker punched eventually, so the opening move is yours, he says, and there's a squeal of excitement and joy from the tiny Metak, and then he's slammed in the face so hard he's sent tumbling into the sky. Before he can shake off the stun, his ankle is grabbed and he's sent tumbling across the ground. The bands of his armor go flying as the shirt is already thoroughly shredded, and the metal that was tied to it does as unsecured objects do under sudden motion. They scatter. His claws dig furrows into the ground, and he rights himself just in time to split through a boulder sent hurtling his way, and then dodge a wing that appears more like a pitch-black chainsaw than an organic appendage. Clearly introducing the girl to the more crazy sci-fi settings had been a bit of a mistake. Mistake or not, he dodges the extremely deadly swings and takes a few lightning-fast slashes at her with his claws to probe her defenses when her wings are buzzsaws, chainsaws, and other bladed bits of rotating hell. It's a no-go, so he needs to go around things rather than through. A jump back to dodge a lunge, and he stomps backwards to try and use something he observed from Terry, and a pillar of stone erupts under her. It's dodged with ease, so that bit was a waste of time. His answer is to suddenly stop his retreat, reinforce his claws, and start deflecting while both gripping the ground to stabilize himself, and then slam his wings forward to set up a blast of wind to throw her off balance, and she staggers just enough for him to hit between the rotating parts of the blades and slap things away. He gets a window of opportunity and takes a stab, but she retreats, leaving him to embed his claw into the stone. He switches it into a grab for a large stone that he then hurls at her for a visual block before charging hard. They're just barely getting started.